if there is a requirement, then we should this particular service. And service registration and discovery to enable service lookup and finds the endpoint for each service. Like imagine like when the client is a client has to talk to one particular service. Then here in this pattern, we will cover the integration patterns later in the following slides. But so this is one example, like API gateway. The gateway will be acting as like a routing table, which will redirect each request to its own corresponding services. And resiliency services to take corrective actions during failures. So those components comes as the operational concerns of microservices. So let's see the microservice integration patterns. So there are mainly like 3 approaches which are being used. One is API gateway, and one is point-to-point style, and the other one is message broker. So API gateway, it's a widely used integration pattern, intermediary with minimal routing capabilities. And point-to-point style, it's like invoking services directly from client side. Message broker, it's based on the AMQP message protocol or some other messaging protocol. It mainly implements like asynchronous message. Let's go into detail about like each patterns. Point-to-point integration pattern works for relatively simple microservices and less number of services, because the mobile client has to talk to each, the client has to talk to each microservice directly, and services might be talking to each other services like directly. So the maintenance wise, like it will be like accounting microservice will be talking to the store microservice directly. There is no routing or something. There is no common point also. So all the calls will be like interlinked, which makes it like kind of difficult in case of like if we have a huge system with lots of microservices. Redundancy in cross-cutting functionalities like authentication, monitoring, etc. So mainly like each service has to maintain like its own code for authenticating the user, whether this service request is authenticated, and logging. Each component have to have like its own logging. So that introduces like lots of redundancy, and no control over the communication between the services and clients. It's like point to point, so nobody is controlling the communications. And microservice anti-pattern for large, so this is called as microservice anti-pattern for large scale microservice implementations. So mostly used in like small scale systems. API gateway, this is the widely used integration pattern. So let's consider this as like a manager kind of pattern. Like, so we will have like one service which is responsible for routing, authentication, maybe like whatever is the cross-cutting non-functional requirements, they are moved to the API gateway. The idea is like use a lightweight message gateway as the main entry point for all the clients or consumers. So implements all the non-functional requirements at the gateway level, like logging will be handled there, and the system level logging, and also the authentication also, like one user makes a request, first API gateway authenticates that and then routes it to the individual microservices. Combination of microservice architecture and API management. So this is trying to balance the benefits of monolithic application development and also the microservices. Benefits are like gives required abstractions at the API level, and lightweight message routing or transformation at the gateway level reduces the complexity at the microservice level too, by removing the redundancy between like each services. The next one is the message broker pattern. So services are integrated in asynchronous messaging scenarios, decouple message producers from message consumers. So the basic concept is like publisher, subscriber kind of concept. The client publish a message, and there will be like consumers listening to those messages. Like, so each consumer will be configured to listen to one particular message or topic. And then when the message gets published, the there will be like a processing strategy for that message, and it gets activated, and the corresponding microservice takes corresponding actions. So that's the concept behind message broker. Communication between consumers or producers is facilitated through a message broker, which is based on asynchronous messaging standards like AMQP or MQTT. Maybe like production usage might be like some messaging platform implementations like RabbitMQ or something like that. So best practices to design microservices. So as I mentioned, like the first thing is we should have like its own, each microservice should have its own database, separate data store for each microservice, and keep code at similar level of maturity. Like all different, there might be different microservices running in the same ecosystem. So all should have like same kind of maturity to interact between each other. And separate build for each microservice. Each microservice should be deployed separately and deploy into containers. So each microservice should have like its own runtime, its own separate runtime, so that like there will not be any issues with scaling or something like that. And treat servers as like stateless. So you might have heard about like solid design principle, which we follow in the software design or software development practices. The main S in the solid design principle is single responsibility principle, and which is applicable for microservice architecture too. Model services around the business domain. Try to make each microservice serve like a single business domain purpose. So if it is a cart, then make only the cart related handling should be part of this cart microservice. Avoid shared databases that will be helpful for like scaling or communication between each microservice. And smart endpoints and dump pipes. Each service owns a well-defined API for external communication. Avoid leaking implementation details. For communication, always use simple protocols such as REST over HTTP. So mainly like all the microservices should have like data contracts or like communication contracts through which they will be talking. So the contracts remains constant because there will not be any change in the external interface, so that like one microservice change will require the change in the another consumer microservice, or the intercommunication between two microservices should be fine. Then avoiding shared databases is mainly to avoid tight coupling with the data layer. Each service should have its own data storage. So the development team is free to pick the data persistence method which best fit to each service and nature of data. And avoid coupling between services. Causes of coupling include shared database schemas and rigid communication protocol. And decentralized development. So mostly like each development team will be focusing on their microservice. So development, avoid sharing code bases, data schemas, or development team members among multiple services or projects. Let developers focus on innovation and quality at the source itself. So that will be giving like more chances to follow like agile software practices in real time. Let the gateway handle like routing and cross-cutting concerns like authentication and SSL termination. So there won't be any redundancy in each microservice. And high functional cohesion and loose coupling for services. So mainly like follow the same object-oriented principles we learn in the initial stages. So mostly like each microservice should have like high functional cohesion, and there shouldn't be much coupling between like each microservices. And there comes the question like when to use microservice. Microservices are like best fit for application with high scalability needs and projects with high release velocity, where it's like very agile and very like the use cases are changing, or we need to like do like so many POCs to try out things, then this approach like fits perfect. Business cases with rich domains and many subdomains, which do not like which shouldn't have like much cohesion or coupling between like domains or many subdomains, like so that like it will lead to like less indifferences, like when we change one microservice, then the other microservices shouldn't be affected. Agile development teams with small development teams developing large products collaboratively. If you have like many small agile development teams, but who is making a overall like enterprise application, then this microservice architecture is the perfect one to use in that one. So maybe like your microservice, like the one small microservice may be used by like multiple teams at the organization level. So in those kind of environments, microservices are the approach to go with. But like if it is not satisfying like any of these criteria, then the benefits of microservices will not be visible. And the overhead of like maintaining so many microservices will not be appealing to like the management or higher teams. So in those cases, like you can go with monolithic application development. I think that's a wrap to like whatever content I want to share. So the floor is open for like questions. Let me know like if you have any questions specific to this or any of the topics covered.
Thank you, Ms. Malini. Yeah, really had a wonderful session. I think this is just a new idea for us. That is the services, this microservices. Dear participants, do you have any queries?
Sorry, there are like so many Medium articles on microservices. These are like some of the Medium articles and blogs like which I referred like while I was preparing for this one. So there are like some of the images are like I borrowed from them. So go into Medium, read about like microservices. Those cover like very detailed about like the industry usages and all.
Dear participants, do you have any queries, any doubts? You can raise your question by unmuting the mic, or you can send your question through the chat.
Epsilon, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Sir, someone is asking, they want a PPT for the webinar. And then some questions are there in the chat box. You can read it out. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Malini, there is some question. Yeah. What are the drawbacks of microservices, if any?
Yes, so the mostly like I covered those in the previous slides, right? Like microservices like have its own drawbacks, like the service discovery. So that's main operational concerns. So kind of like we have an overhead of like managing all these microservices. So based on the integration pattern like which we use, there might be overhead of maintaining these microservices, the communication between them, and also the deployment or architecture complexity. For every feature, like if you have to make changes to all these services, then it defeats the purpose of microservice. So when we choose for microservice, I think we should evaluate like whether our business use case actually demands it or not. So that's one drawback I would say. and also the service kind of discovery, service replication, those kind of operational concerns are also like considered as the drawbacks of microservices. Yeah, and also as someone else like Sebin asked in the chat, how can we ensure the availability of API gateway? Yes, it can be a single point of failure, but availability perspective, we can have like multiple redundant services or like load balancers running for that API gateway service. If one service goes down, like the other one kicks in, maybe we can use like tools like Highwire or something like that to ensure like whether it is available. But if there is a fault in the API gateway, I agree it will be a single point of failure if we are using the API gateway integration pattern. So why is it advised to avoid shared databases? So for that question, I would say to avoid like the coupling between services. If the databases or if the use case is like very narrow, like which doesn't require like a huge databases or huge tables or something like that, then it is it's sure that like it is good to share the database. But if you want to scale like one particular service, then you don't have to scale like all the other information in the other tables or something like that. So if we take an example of like the retail store, then if you want to scale only the cart database or cart service, you don't have to scale like products or the user information databases. And that's why it is better to avoid shared database. Vaishnavi, can you elaborate that question? I'm not clear about that one. Microservice works with combined with other techniques.
Vaishnavi SB, can you unmute the mic and elaborate the question?
Ma'am, I thought that the microservice also work with other techniques like CPP, Android Studio, like.
Sorry?
So there is any interface need for that?
Can you elaborate on that techniques? Like, I'm not clear about like that question. Sorry.
Ma'am, you told that CPP and like other languages are also
Yeah.
can
So,
microservice.
maybe you were talking about the mixed technology stack.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, like, so for a real-time example, I can say like, so I developed two microservices, and one microservice I see that like .NET Core is the good candidate for developing that microservice, but the other one I'm thinking like Python may be the fast one. The performance will be better if I use like Python language for that service, but both have like different runtimes. Both microservice will be like deployed in two different areas or two different runtimes. So there is no issue by developing like Python service and also a .NET Core service. They can like easily talk to each other because they are working on the standard protocols like REST over HTTP or something, some common protocols like that. So basically, that's what I meant by mixed technology stack. Like, so if it was a monolithic application development, you cannot go with two different technologies to serve like two different purpose, because the entire application is going to be run on a single runtime. Does that answer?
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am, another one question is in chat.
Okay. Oh, yes, we have
That is, can we introduce Docker,
Kubernetes, etc.
Kubernetes?
Yes, yes, depending upon each runtime. So each microservice will be deployed into its own runtimes. So depending upon your infrastructure or your environment, you can use like Docker, Kubernetes for its runtimes. So it's mostly it is combined with Dockers or Kubernetes for the microservice deployment. But if you are using like on-premise servers or something like that, then we will not be using Dockers or Kubernetes in that concept. So I use mostly like on-premise servers. So we don't use Docker or Kubernetes for our service deployments.
Any other queries, dear participants?
Sir, one query is in the chat box. Then Marley.
Yeah.
How can we ensure the availability of API gateway? Sounds
Yeah.
like single point of failure.
Yeah, we answered that. So it's like so gateway API availability, we can have like replications of that particular service. So if that service goes down, like we might have like, so in order to have the fault tolerance or the availability, high availability SLA meeting and all, then we should be having like services replicated and maintained in the load balancer tools like Highwires. So by that, we can ensure the availability of gateway API. But if there is a fault or failure in the API gateway, then that might lead to single point of failure.
Okay. Dear participants, any other queries? There is another one question for Jodi, I think. Yeah, Nebu Varghese, we have an idea. We will intimate you. Okay, we have an idea to conduct a series of webinars. So we can introduce the topic of hacking, but I think hacking cannot be completed in 1 hour or 2 hours. I think so. So if we are conducting, surely we will contact you.
Okay. To answer Revati's question,
Any other queries?
can the services? Yeah, there is one question. Can the services be interrelated, or would each be independent modules? Would there be a scenario where the output of one service is accessed or acts as a parameter on another one? To answer the second part, yes. And the first part, I would say, if it is interrelated, the change in one service will lead to the change in the other one. So it can be interrelated. It can act as an input to the output from one service can be the input to the other one. But the interfaces should be constant. They shouldn't change. The implementation details may be like differ over time, but the abstraction layer, the interface layer should be constant. So that's how like the microservice works. I hope I answered Revati's question. Let me know like if you need any more clarification in that one.
One another doubt, ma'am. Like if the output of one service is being used by another one, like how is it being conveyed? Like if one module is using Python and another one supports a CPP language,
Yeah.
so how these outputs would be interfaced to the other service?
So mostly like the outputs will be like in a common format like JSON. So one service might be like, so that's what, like REST over HTTP or some common protocol. So they two microservices should be talking to each other based on like a common protocol. Even if like a Python service is running, it might be producing a JSON output, which can be consumed by a .NET Core API.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So we might be using like some common input output method. Mostly like I have seen JSON is the common format, JSON or XML.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other queries?
There's one question. What about talking between microservices when using API gateway? Like endpoint point to point, does the microservices to use API for that? So the communication will be routed through the API gateway. So for example, like if one service wants to talk to the other service, it has to go through the API gateway because that's where it is routing. Point to point will be like directly talking.
Any other doubts? So I hope we can come to the conclusion. Yeah. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Malini, for a wonderful session. I hope it's around 6 or 7 o'clock there, right?
Yeah, morning 7.
Morning 7. Yeah, fine. Okay. So thank you. Thank you for a wonderful session in the morning time in your area, right? Okay, and we are really proud to have alumni like you in Jodi. So we are really happy to have a session from you. So now I once again there is another one question in the chat box. Ma'am, can you answer?
Sure. So won't there be any latency issues? So in the initial slide, I was talking about monolithic application development have higher performance than the microservice because of the inter-process communication, which will be introduced between like services kind of thing. So that is also one drawback, like, but it's kind of like weighing what weighs more. But the inter-process communication is not that bad. Like we will not notice that much delay. Like if the processes are like made in the correct way, then we will not notice that much latency. But it will be poorer than the shared memory communication. So monolithic application development beats in that aspect, beats microservices in that aspect. Can commodity hardware be used in a distributed manner? Yes, there can be. It's not required to have like a Google Cloud or Amazon for using microservices. Can be like share distributed services, distributed servers setting too.
Okay, I think we can go for a wind up. That's conclusion section. I request Maria and Tom to handle the conclusion section. Over to you, Maria.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, all. Am I audible?
Yes.
So, a very good evening to everybody here. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Ms. Malini. I'm very happy to address you as our senior, and it's all our privilege to hear from you, such an experienced person.
I think there is some network issue there. Okay. Miss Maria, sorry, Maria and Tom, can you hear me? Okay, so I think I can conclude the session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. And I like to use this opportunity to thank our management for providing this opportunities for us. And I like to thank special thanks to Ms. Malini for giving a wonderful session. Thank you all. And I like to quote Ashwati Miss here. Ashwati Miss give a link to Ms. Malini and the person behind this event is Ms. Ashwati. Thank you, Miss. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Dear participants, please fill the feedback form. This is actually important for e-certificate. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Malini, thank you so much. We are
No
very proud
problem,
of you,
Miss.
Malini.
Thank you. Back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.